Radio Biryani, Pakka Local.
As a passionate advocate for the environment, she is a recipient of the IANT Women of the Year Award in 2023. She is the founder of One Earth, One Chance, an organization devoted to growing and maintaining trees and shrubs and taking actions to address the deteriorating health of our environment. The volunteers of this organization have planted 760 shrubs with irrigation in the DFW area. Today, we are in conversation with Geeta Menon, who will be talking and sharing her knowledge about how we together can work towards making small lifestyle changes for a better tomorrow. We are thrilled to invite her to our studios. Welcome, Geeta, and thank you so much for taking our time to be with us today.
Thank you so much, Usha, and happy Earth Day, everyone. Today is a special day. I don't know if any of you remember, but this was founded in 1970 by a peace activist called John McConnell. And there was concern that we were using resources at a faster pace than what the earth could provide to us. And we needed to commemorate a special day to recognize the importance of the earth and our environment and work to save the planet. And the oil spill in 1969 further delineated that, and therefore this day was formed. So I'm very happy to address all of you today and tell you more about recycling and many other topics.
Wonderful. Thank you, Geeta. And let's just straight away dive into our topic because it's such an important topic and we have so much to cover. So let me start with this basic question, Geeta. Why recycling is important for our environmental sustainability and resource conservation?
So a little bit of education there. We are currently, our economy works on a linear basis. So we have a take, make, waste model. So we take the materials, we make products, and then we waste it. It's linear. We need to move more towards what we call a circular economy. And a circular economy is one where we consider what happens to the product after it's used. What's the proper disposal mechanism? The reality is 100 billion tons of materials are used every year, but only 9% is recycled. Shocking, right? And the majority of the greenhouse gas emissions, the majority of biodiversity loss that we see around us is caused by our use of raw materials, right? The extraction of it, the processing of it. So we have to consider, what happens with the waste. It shouldn't go to landfills and incinerators, cause pollution and carbon emissions. We have to figure out a circular method where we consider things like reuse, refurbishment, remanufacturing, and that's what recycling is.
That's a very shocking number we just heard there, Geeta. So when it comes to recycling, Geeta, there are a lot of misconceptions. Are there some common misconceptions about it, and how would you address them?
There are many misconceptions, and the primary one is that all items can be recycled. They cannot. There are some things that cannot go into the recyclable bin, and if you do add them to the bin, they actually cause disposal of actually recyclable items. So it's called contamination. And while we may have good intentions, that kind of wish cycling is detrimental, and we must check labels of products. We must look at local guidelines to be able to know what can be recycled. The other thing is, people think that recycling uses resources, it wastes money. It actually doesn't. Overall, in net, it saves us water, it saves us energy, it saves us money. So recycling is good for the environment. Another misconception, plastic bags, can they go in the recycling bin? No, they cannot, because they actually jam up the recycling machinery. But there are bins in supermarkets, there are bins in recycling centers that take care of the plastic. India's done a great job of using plastic bags to build highways, so put them in the right, educate yourself, find the right places for these things, because if you do it wrong, if you do wish cycling, it's actually worse, right? Yeah, and one more misconception, that materials can only be recycled once. No, it can be recycled continuously.
Oh, wow. That's an eye opener for me that the materials can be recycled again and again. That's really, and I am guilty of throwing those plastic bags into the trash. And this is something, that's the point, guys. You have so much to learn. So, information is the key, education is the key, and education from the right person. That's also very important. So, Geeta, I know my next question is an open ended question because it's so vast and we can go on and on about various methods and processes involved in recycling different material. But at a broader level, maybe let's just talk about plastics, paper, and glass, and maybe metal. These are the things that we every day come across and we every day deal with.
Yeah, so recycling primarily is a three-step process. So it starts with the collection, the gathering of the material. There's the processing, which is the sorting, cleaning, and preparation for recycling. And then there's the actual remanufacturing, which are in facilities where they take that product and make it into something else. Regardless of, what it is, paper, metal, glass, they have to be dry and clean. They cannot have food scraps, right? So that's something that we've got to take care of. The other thing is labels, right? Not every region, not every city can take care of every type of plastic. So you have to look at, there's a triangle on plastics, if you look carefully at the label, with a number, with a resin number that says whether or not, it might be number 5, number 3, whatever it is. You have to check if your local city can handle that, right? And if not, it needs to be routed to the correct place. The other thing is the soft plastics. We think all plastics. No, soft plastics need to be taken care of in a special way. There are TerraCycle bins at Kroger and other supermarkets that will accommodate that. Right? It's similar to plastic bags. So it's just there are some special rules. I know it's a little bit complex, but it's a one-time education. But once you know, and you can make that a habit. And then the other thing is both aluminium cans and foil can be recycled. So even, as long as it's clean, you don't have to crush the cans. So that's, these are all just things to remember. But overall, let's lean into this, right? Let's look at, whether it's newspaper or magazines, paper, plastic coated paper, no, they can't be recycled. So there are just a little bit of education for each of those areas that you talked about. Where you just need to learn what the rules are. And by the way, oneearth.onechance.org has a resource library where you don't have to remember and memorize all this stuff. You can go look it up, and anytime you want to know what happens with the cardboard roll in my toilet paper, we'll tell you where it can be recycled.
Amazing. Now we also have a resource where we can go and check. We don't have to break our brains to learn all these things. We can just quickly refer to that. Indeed. Amazing. And that's oneearth.onechance.org, guys. So, see, I want to recycle, Geeta. Okay, I want to do it. And as you said, education is the first step where we start. But what are some challenges or barriers to effective recycling that and how would you propose to address them?
So I think we addressed that. It's education, right? That's the biggest challenge. Education and resources. People want to do the right thing. They know recycling is good for the environment, but they're unsure. And we have some ideas, not just the resource library, but we've got some ideas on apps and so on, using technology, to make it easier. But education is key because avoiding contamination is key. Otherwise, a whole load of recyclable items will go to the landfill. The other thing is, as a community, as a country, we need more regulation around this, right? So Europe is very good about regulating. They're very advanced, as far as, regulating this area. US doesn't have a central federal recycling program. So every city has to figure it out and put in place recycling measures. There's no standardization in plastic types. The industry doesn't have any standardization. So that's why, when you regulate, you can tell a producer, a company, that you have extended producer responsibility. So you don't just produce a product, you figure out what happens to it when it's used. Take responsibility for the full life cycle. So that kind of regulation is very important. The other thing is demand. As I said, people think that products can't be recycled continuously. They think it's inferior if you use a product with recycled content. Not the case. It's very durable, and we have to create a demand, around the use of recycled products.
That's a good point, because there are very simple things, as you said, that the soft plastic, we just assume that because it's soft, it's easily biodegradable, but it's the other way around. It clogs the machines. Amazing. That's a very good point. And you just talked about technology, Geeta. So what role does technology play in this improving recycling efficiency and effectiveness?
So I've had 30-year career in technology, and I can tell you technology can make a difference. And obviously, one of the big ways that technology can make a difference is in the sorting process, right? There are cameras, sensors, and AI. Just like we can recognize faces, they can recognize, the mixed materials, because sometimes you can have a bottle that's glass with a metal cap, or two different plastics. A cap is a different plastic from the rest of the bottle. So that kind of sorting, isolating materials is really important. And cameras, sorting machines can do that. The other thing is sensors for pay as you throw. So there are states that have a pay as you throw program, and so you pay more if you throw more.
Oh, wow.
Right? And these sensors can detect like fill levels and inform the authority, when when the recyclables need to be picked up. And then trucks can be optimized, right, for routing. So there's that. Then there's AI and data analytics for behavior patterns. There's 3D printing. There's chemical recycling. There's so many ways that technology can help.
Amazing. And this next question is off syllabus, Geeta.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, where did it all start for you? Why you took up this initiative?
Well, I mean, living in Dallas, climate change is very, apparent
Evident,
to us.
yes.
It's very evident. It's colder and hotter at the same time. Our need for housing, I've seen within the last 20, 25 years, whole forests being cut down for housing, right? And of course, agriculture, we have, a lot of need for food as we have more people. The press of people in these urban areas has caused a need for more resources, more food, more housing. I can see the environment degrading in front of me. I can see and we think that it doesn't affect us, but it does. Human health is related to the health of the environment, and that realization arrived in 2019. I sat down with a group of friends, and we said, what can we do to make a difference? We still had day jobs. What can we do? And we came up with One Earth, One Chance, because, we have one chance to get this right.
Amazing. We all know that it has to be done, but you took that next step of helping others and helping this whole environment. Amazing, Geeta, and thank you for doing that for us. So as an individual, as a person, I would like to promote and encourage recycling. But can you just talk about how do I do it, promote and encourage effective recycling practices?
So I think the one big thing as a community is we need to make it a bit easier for people to figure out how to recycle. Install bins, in public places. You can set up recycling stations. I know children who have set up electronics drop-off points, and then collected it and gone and dropped it off at the proper centers, whether it's hazardous waste, and things like that. We need to make it a bit easier as a community and allow for sorting at the point of collection, not later, right? And then incentivize it, right? So as I said, the pay as you throw, charge more if they're throwing more. Organize recycling drives, right? And and arrange drop-off points at public areas. Vote with your wallet, go buy things that are sustainable and promote those over other things, right? And that have less packaging, have used recycled content. The other thing is upcycling. This is like, we're so creative, our Desi community is so creative. We should be thinking of ways to take waste or recycled content or recycled products and make it into art, or, jewelry or whatever, right? So upcycling.
So that's amazing. Yeah, we can, and we are good at it. Come on, guys, we are. So yes, absolutely. I remember my mom making that, what we get cookie box into that. We had all the sewing, the threads and everything, the needles, and so and we used to make fun at that point of time, but it made a lot of sense, and it's sustainable, guys. And when talking about sustainability, Geeta, I know recycling is a multi-layered process. There is no straight one, two, three, four steps. There's no straightforward. So, and these businesses and industries, when you talk about sustainability, how can these integrate sustainable recycling practices into their operations?
They have the biggest responsibility. Yes, as individuals, we need to do the right thing, but we know that the pollution is caused by the 10% elite, which are many often businesses. And that's where I talked about the extended producer responsibility. They have to take that responsibility. They understand what ESG is, environment, society, governance, and adopt those, because people are going to millennials care about these things. People are going to vote with their wallet, so they have to wake up and take notice. And regulations will happen. There's two Australian businesses, Coles and Woolworths, that put in a fee for single-use plastics. They would not give them out free. It reduced by 80%. The use of plastic bags was reduced. So they can do a lot. They can arrange for returnable containers. They can have mail back programs, like you have it for iPhones, for electronics. Mail it back. We'll take Warby Parker, right? They mail it back. They need to assess their processes and see where the waste is happening. They need to start leveraging recycled content, because carpets, all these things can be used with recycled fabric. So that's another area to look at. So businesses can do a lot.
That's amazing, because I remember seeing somewhere in Europe, there are shops where they do a refill shampoos. You just have to buy it once, and every time you just go and refill into that same container. That's the best way of doing it.
That's a really good point, Usha, because that's true for milk bottles as well, right? You can take those glass bottles and return it. So you pay a little bit more, and then a surcharge at the beginning, but you get a rebate back. That's called a DRS program, and absolutely we should encourage that.
We should do that. So, Geeta, tell me, when you started this journey, right, did you face any challenges or any setbacks?
So our mission was threefold. We said, as what we can work on is tree planting. We can raise funds and plant trees. And, I think people do a lot, for different things like temples and other, many charities. And, just give us, pay for one tree, and that's important. So having our community think about the environment and trees is something relatively new, So I think more of us are getting there, but we have to start thinking about. We have about 36 key donors who pay for one tree. The rest are paying smaller amounts. But we need more. We need because we've actually done 1,400 tree and shrub plantings with irrigation put in. So it's grown quite a bit by leaps and bounds. But we need to do more. So that's one challenge, is funding. The other challenge I would say is just, as I said, education. So we've worked with UTD over 3 semesters to prepare a curriculum. And that's going to be available online. We launched our website, our upgraded website. We're going to launch our curriculum. Our member donors who give $100 or more a year will get access to our curriculum and the monthly blogs. So sign up for it, get a Green Ambassador certification, learn more.
Amazing. So it's nothing wrong. Yeah, it's nothing wrong in what you believe, guys. It's everything. We have our priorities. You want to donate to whatever cause you can. But this cause, I feel, is common for everyone. Each one of us are breathing in the same air. There's only so much of water available and everything. So please consider this. And so, Geeta, we can't stress enough on the importance of education, awareness. That's what we've been talking for the last 20 minutes or so in promoting recycling habits among individuals and communities. But how would you approach educating different demographics, if I have to say that way, about recycling?
I mean, I think using technology is important, because if we want to scale, we have to leverage technology, and that's why we thought of the online curriculum, because we can do road shows, but it's limited by our time, by our resources to go everywhere and educate. So please adopt this curriculum. It's available to you. The resource libraries are available to you. The other thing is, at the end of the day, we've each got to take responsibility for nature, right? And taking responsibility for that is investing some of your time towards litter pickups, and other environmental activities. So devote some time, give some attention, to that aspect.
Yeah, so as you said, technology has a farther reach, and now everybody is like, even from kids to grown-ups, everybody is in some way or the other. And
Indeed. And one other thing I want to mention is partnerships, because we've had great partnerships with, Vibha, People's Impact Network, and Sewa, and so on. We're not saying, they do what they do the best. But if they partner with us and say, we're going to devote some of our focus on the environment, partner with us, that's another way to scale. So it's not just technology and education, right. It's also partnerships.
I agree, because more people get involved, more exposure it'll be, and exposed it'll be amazing. So can you share some examples, Geeta, of like successful recycling initiative that you can think of programs that have made a significant impact on this waste reduction and environmental conservation?
So, San Francisco is actually, quite a poster child, because they put in a goal in that they would get 75% of their waste diverted, away from landfills. And they reached that goal, and they were supposed to do that by 2010. They arrived at their goal 2 years earlier.
Wow.
So San Francisco is a poster child. So if we, I know it's not easy for us to do advocacy and get local government to change, but that is a success story. So, San Francisco is. The other thing is there's a university that has 100% recycling success. So, universities are leading the way. Certain cities are leading the way. Maine, tiny little Maine, is a success story. 75% of their waste is recycled. So we can take, these examples and grow on it. I already talked about the Australian supermarkets that charge for plastic bags. There's also cooperatives. So there's a cooperative that sells recycled paper and at competitive prices. So think of how much paper businesses use, and that cooperative is doing great business. So, they talk about that triple bottom line. So you can get profit and do good, right? Have purpose, help people, do good.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, there's many success stories, and we'll share more in our, through our blogs and through our resource libraries. So,
These success stories, I think it brings back the focus on that it's not a lost cause. It's not, because I have met people who said, one spoon, one glass, but I want them to know that there's been such stories where people have started something not thinking that it'll grow as big, but it's just small steps at a time.
Indeed, and we must live with hope, right? And I'm not just saying that, I'm not greenwashing here, but we are resourceful enough as the human race to fix this problem. We created the problem, we can fix it, and it's not about just living with hope. We have to live with intention, and we have to change our habits one atomic habit at a time. Read the book. We can change our habits. We used to come from a culture that believed in reuse. We can go back to that. So, don't grab that paper towel. Try to use a reusable rag. Meatless Mondays, at least one day without meat. There are so many ways that each individual can take action.
Just small things at a time, guys. Indeed. Small things. So, Geeta, before I let you go, can you please talk about the organization One Earth, One Chance, please?
Yeah, so One Earth, One Chance has been in existence, as I said, since 2019. We're only 5 years old. We're a small charity. Our focus is on tree planting, litter removal, using technology to work towards this problem, and also most importantly education, because we realized underlying everything is education. So we're putting a lot of emphasis on building educational channels and reaching out, and we also do outreach. So we also have a fun way to get engaged. So on Mother's Day, we have May 4th, we have a Ma Tujhe Salam event where you can come learn dance. And Vandita of NSDA is teaching the class, and she's giving her time towards this cause. And you can learn, have fun, come with your child, and we raise money to plant trees. So there's many outreach events. There's technology, education, litter pickups. We have one coming up next Saturday to do litter pickup on Legacy Trail. You'll be surprised. We found couches in creeks. So there's a lot of trash being dumped in a. There's some statistics that are so shocking, like every 2 seconds we lose a forest the size of a football field. Every minute a garbage-sized a truck of garbage is dumped into the that much garbage is dumped into the ocean. So we're taking some small steps to make a difference. We want to expand into other cities. So if you're motivated, engaged, and living in Austin or other cities, come reach out to us. But yes, we're here to make a difference.
So are there any volunteer opportunities?
Absolutely. So all these opportunities are volunteer opportunities. As I said, come help us plant trees. We have a tree planting coming up on April 26th. In Cottonwood Park in Richardson. All of this information is also on our website at oneearth.onechance.org. But yes, tree planting, litter pickups. If you have talent, help us raise funds. Come do our curriculum, learn more about this area. But yeah, there's multiple ways to get engaged.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you so much. That is such an eye-opening conversation we just had. Such simple things, guys. One step at a time. Don't get overwhelmed by that knowledge. Oh, I can't do all this. No, you don't have to do all this. Just start one small bit from your end, and that definitely makes a difference. Don't think that you are not contributing to a good cause. You are, just by, as she said, it's not the hope, it's the intention that we live with. Thank you, Geeta. Thank you again for your wonderful thoughts and wonderful knowledge you shared. And I hope this brought some difference at somebody's life. And I want to ask you, what's your favorite song? What song do you want to listen to today?
I would love to listen to Dharti Ma, which is a collaboration by many artists in multiple Indian languages. So I would love for our audience to listen to that. But thank you so much, Usha. I really appreciate this opportunity. And, come reach out, guys. I'm available. Let's talk more about this.
Wonderful. So oneearthonechance.org, guys. Stay tuned to Radio Biryani. You're listening to your Pakka Local channel, and we are committed to get such amazing stories and wonderful people on air.